Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I am your host, Attorney Lee Marvin. Today is Monday, February 10th, 2025, and I welcome you to my show. And I will remind you of how this works, okay? In the comment section, you ask your questions, you post your comments, and we will talk about things related to immigration. There's a few things going on, a few things that people have been contacting me about and asking me about, which is why I do this live program every week so people can get up to speed on, well, try to get up to speed because stuff moves very quickly. And there's been a lot of changes and there's even more coming down the line. So this is a good place for you to come to ask questions. If I don't have the answers, because I don't always, I will try to find the answers and I will post them on social media, or I will tell you next week during my next live broadcast. The point is, this is the place you can come to if you want information that you can't get without having to do random searches online, and you want a real live, very smart attorney to actually answer your questions. So please post your questions in the comment section and I will get to them as I see them, okay? We got people joining us from YouTube, from Instagram, from Facebook. So please post your questions in the link and I will answer your questions. Again, welcome to everyone. And please tell me where you're joining us from, okay? So people join us from all over the country, all over the world. And I love to know where people are joining us from. So we got a friend joining us from Montana. Elna, I know Elna joins us most weeks, so thank you, Elna, for joining us again in Montana. And you're welcome. I appreciate you too. Thank you for watching and for participating. Because again, without people like you, Elna, I don't have any questions to answer, right? So thank you very kindly for supporting my channel. And thank you. Okay, so if you have questions, post them. Otherwise, I'm sure other people are going to be asking questions. So let me go to Instagram. I always have tons of friends on Instagram. Okay, lots of people already lining up. So waiting for questions to start popping in. So friend joining us from Chicago. Love it. Maryland. I've never been to Maryland, which you probably knew that by the way I just pronounced it. But Chicago, been there many, many times. Indiana, friends from Indiana joining us. So people from the Midwest, it's very nice, and from the East. So if you have specific questions, again, type them in the chat, and I will make sure that I answer them as I go along. There's a bunch of questions that I had from earlier that I have here that I wanted to go over too, if I get a chance. Usually the beginning of the show is when is the best time to ask your questions because it's easier to get to them, because toward the end of the program, there's just tons of questions. I can't always get to them. And it always happens that every week I'm telling people that I can't get to them. So I always apologize for that, but I do what I can, you know? So here, let me see. Let me see what questions I had from my YouTube channel. This is a very common question, and I've answered it in a number of different videos, including last week's live. Can you deport it if you have an I-130 pending? Absolutely. Having an I-130 pending does not protect you from immigration deportations. An approved I-130 doesn't protect you. I've said in the past, I told people to carry a copy of that with them. Why do I say that? Because it's better to have something than nothing. Because there's a lot of discretion that the ICE agents have when they're trying to decide whether to move toward deportation. And a lot of times, in the past at least, if an ICE officer sees that you have a pending or an approved I-130, they say, okay, this person doesn't seem like a troublemaker. This person hasn't been in any trouble. And they seem like they're just trying to fix their status. So I'm going to cut them a break, okay? they're not going to cut you a break unless you give them a reason to cut you a break. So that's why I tell people to carry that stuff with them. So it helps. It can't hurt, but it can only help. Okay. Here's a question, another question from my YouTube channel. How long does it take to get a marriage green card after the 765 is approved? So that question could potentially be more difficult than this person thought when they were typing it. If we're talking a green card inside the United States, typically, if you get an approved 765 or your work permit, usually that means that they're moving along in the process. They want to give you the respect and the right to work while you're waiting for your interview. The interview can come, it could come anytime, right? It's a month or two away, but it could be up to 6 months away. It really depends on what jurisdiction you're in, because jurisdictions have different processing times and different wait times. Okay, so that's the best answer I could give you. Again, if you wanted to reach out directly to me and provide more relevant information, then I could answer the question in a better way. And let's see. And I'm right now, sorry guys, I'm trying to get my link up here to give everyone the link to my office to book a consultation so that you can talk directly to me in case you do want to talk more about your particular topic. A lot of people do. I post this every week, and we usually get a lot of people that end up booking that consultation because it's that important, right? Things are so important with immigration that you don't hesitate to reach out if you have something that needs an answer. Because again, this answer show is great, but it only answers information based on the quality of the question. Okay, so if I need more information, I can't really give you a great answer. I ballpark it. I can give you a general answer, but if you want something very specific to your life, then the best way to do that is to provide an opportunity for you and me to talk so I can get more of that information. Okay, and I'm going to get to this in a second because I have a bunch of people on, let's see, it looks like YouTube. Okay, this is from Dan. I came with a J1 visa 10 years ago. I overstayed the visa and continue to use the Social Security number for work. I have a business license, cars, employees. Is it possible to be deported? Is there something that can be done? So Dan, overstaying a visa is not great, obviously. Getting a valid Social Security number doesn't help you with immigration, right? It helps you with paying taxes, which is what a Social Security number is for. But because you have your own business, it's a little bit different, right? If you were trying to use that social to become employed, the employer wouldn't be allowed to employ you, okay? It's different when you have your own business. It's one of those things that the government has worked hard in the last 5 years, especially, to try to close that loophole, because it is a loophole. Getting that Social Security is only supposed to be used if you have a valid work authorization, okay? It's a little bit different when you actually run your own business. So to answer this question, yes, you absolutely can be deported. What do you do to move forward? Well, if you have a family member that can sponsor you for a green card, that is one way to move forward, where you can bypass the normal system and you can actually get status in the United States, okay? But it can only happen if you have a valid sponsor, okay? So Dan, you might want to book a time to talk to me because there's a lot more I could add to this, but I can't do it right now, okay? So book that time. I put the link in the chat, so check me out, okay? Here's a question from Ari. Before I go back to my Instagram channel, this is from Facebook. I'm sorry. This is from YouTube. What do you think will happen with DACA? I'm a DACA recipient. I'm a little scared of what will happen with it. I don't blame you for being scared, Ari. It's a big, humongous question mark because there's been nothing that I've seen yet. And again, stuff happens so fast that I don't see everything that comes out from Washington. I haven't seen anything really talking about DACA. Why is that? Because so much of the emphasis is going on the deportation issues and the border crisis. Okay, once that's resolved, we're going to hear what President Trump is planning to do with DACA. Right now, I wouldn't sweat it because historically, Trump has been pretty supportive of DACA. You know, everything is political, but he was supportive before in his first administration. He was supportive of it. So I think that he will continue to be supportive of that. Even campaigning, he was very positive about DACA. So I get you're worried because you're in that weird time where anything can happen. But I think that there is a fair amount of hope out there for people who have DACA. Don't know what it will be like, but we'll find out. So again, keep watching my channels for more updates as they come out. I will definitely be reporting on them to you guys, okay? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, this is our good friend Raphael. Let's see, let me post it here. Raphael, the maximum number of months that a permanent resident can or should spend outside the U.S. Vacation mode. Got it. So to maintain your valid status for legal permanent residency, you can't be gone for more than 6 months at a time, or cumulatively 6 months. 6 months. 6 months is the easy way to look at it. So again, if you do short trips, a lot of short trips, all that adds up. And after 180 days, the government's going to say, you know what, you're at risk. So Raphael, I'll tell you, if this is a potential risk, then you can get a travel permit before you go on vacation mode. Or if you've done a lot of these little vacations and you're at risk of going over, you can do the same thing. Hey, you know, for example, just a ballpark, we're going down to Ciudad Juarez. We need to be gone for 2 months, and we've already traveled out of the United States, you know, that sort of thing. Can we get advance permission to go for longer without risking our legal permanent residency and our citizenship possibilities? That's how it's done, Raphael. So 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Okay. All right. So there's that. So again, I'm going to the Instagram. Please post your questions in the comments. Lots of people on here. So thank you for joining us. Let's see. Where are we joining from? Okay. Here's a question. And this is from Instagram. I'm coming here to the United States to visit with a visa. I'm already married to a U.S. citizen, but she does not pay enough taxes. And I also have buddies who can sponsor to change my status. Okay, so this is not a very clear question, but I think I know what you're getting at. If you're coming here, a visitor visa, and you don't have the ability to move forward with your green card request through your U.S. citizen spouse, you need to make sure that you are filing things the right way. If your spouse doesn't have the ability to show that he or she can support you for that, again, check out my YouTube channel because I talk about this. You can get a co-sponsor. That must be what you mean when you say buddies. I also have buddies sponsors. So if you have those buddies that are legal permanent residents or U.S. citizens over the age of 18, they can help sponsor you through this process. You might want to book a time to talk to me about this, I can help you with this. Okay, so check out the link that I've put up there because it looks like you are in the area, in the zone where this could work for you. Okay, so check me out. Hola, tía, ¿cómo estás? Dile hola a tío Christian, por favor. Okay. Okay, here's another question. Okay, this is a continuation of the last one, so let me go down a little bit. This is from German 094, or Herman, sorry. Is it possible that an undocumented person married to a permanent resident could help or influence a person detained by ICE? Negative. Nobody can help or influence a person, ICE, okay, in their decision on whether they're going to try to deport somebody or not. The only thing that can influence ICE is someone who hires an attorney to help fight their deportation. Okay, so that happens, and it's not an ICE thing at that point. It's really an immigration court or immigration judge thing. So it helps. It impacts your case. The success of a case definitely is impacted by whether you are related, married to a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident. But just, like having them call up ICE and say, hey, go easy on this person, that's not a possibility. So it's a very complicated process. Everything comes down to the relationship for sure. But it's not quite so easy. If somebody's detained by ICE, nobody's calling them up. Even an attorney is not calling up ICE and saying, oh, can you release this person? No, doesn't work that way at all. That happens in immigration court. ICE does not care. The judge might be persuaded, but ICE is not going to be persuaded by anyone trying to get them to release someone. Okay. Yeah, I see arrested by ICE. Yep, I see that. Let's see. Okay, so those are some of the questions that are on here right now. I'm going to go over to my to my YouTube channel here. Let me see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing. Again, if you just recently joined us, please type your questions in the comments section. Whether you're joining us from YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, please post your questions so I can get to them as I see them. I will answer them as I see them. You don't have to ask for permission to post your question. I will answer it if I get to it. Okay, so let me go over here to Instagram and Facebook. Okay, so here's a question. Any thoughts on HR 875? Can I travel with a green card with a prior DUI? I don't know what HR 875 is. So much going on. I haven't looked at any of the new resolutions that are going through. If it's related to prior DUIs, I can tell you that for the most part, a DUI is not going to stop you from being able to move forward. So you would be able to travel with your green card, even if you had a prior DUI. If there's more to your DUI than just driving while intoxicated, then we might need to talk. But if it's just a DUI, usually that does not impact your ability to travel at all. Okay. So let me come over here. Here's another question. Delmar, I'm in the military and I have applied for military parole place. Bravo, good job. It's a great program. And deferred action for my dad because he had voluntary departure. How would Trump affect the processing times for those and the approval? This is a bit tricky, Delmar, because if your dad was granted voluntary departure and he didn't leave the country, that might impact USCIS's decision of whether to approve your request or not, right? They may say, no way, right? We're not going to approve this request because we think that you should have left. Usually with the military parole place, they're much more understanding and forgiving. But when somebody has a prior history, most of my clients through the military parole place, and I do a lot of them, most of my clients might be here without authorization, but it wasn't after being deported, which is essentially what your dad was, right? He was deported or he was granted voluntary departure. If you don't leave when you're granted voluntary departure, that's bad, right? Because the government treats it worse because they say, hey, we try to hook you up, right? We try to give you a very good deal and give you voluntary departure when we didn't have the obligation to do that. And if you abuse it by not leaving when you say that you're going to, we're not going to be very forgiving with your case. So in the future, if you want something, we're probably not going to give it to you. So I will say, Delamar, this is not a very good situation for your dad getting approval. Doesn't mean he's not going to. It just means that the government's going to be very strict with him. And if there's anything else in his past, they probably are just going to say no, right? So just know that, okay, that it is very it's very difficult, okay? So Manjeet, my pleasure. My pleasure. Glad that I could help. And again, if anyone on here has got questions, we've got about 10 minutes left. And I got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed that there's not more questions, right? I do have more questions right on here, but I like the live questions better. It's a lot more fun. So please post your questions and let me go onto Instagram, see if there's anyone who's asked since I last looked. I don't see anyone. So I'm going to go over here. These are the questions that I had earlier. Okay. Here's a question from my YouTube channel. Hi, I'm from Washington. My brother has a 10-year green card. Is it safe for him to travel to the UK on the 29th of February? Good, we have a little bit of time, okay? Will he have a problem at the port of re-entry, okay? If your brother, and this is Johnson 9185, if your brother has a 10-year green card, you've got nothing to worry about, man. He's totally great. Assuming he doesn't have any skeletons in the closet or anything he needs to worry about, he can leave and re-enter. I'm telling you, there's very few, if ever, restrictions on green card holders. Traveling is not a problem, okay? Just make sure you don't overstay outside the United States, okay? So your brother's not going to have any problems, okay? Okay, I already answered that question. So let me go over here. Let's see. Okay, this I'm happy to answer. I don't see the screen name for the individual. Question is, when USCIS posts the following message on my case status online, what does it mean? Fees were waived. Nice. Decision was mailed. Nicer. New card is being processed. Does this mean that my case was approved? Yes. That's what I would read from this, is that your case absolutely was approved, and you're very soon going to get something in the mail. What that something is, I don't know, because I don't know what process you applied for, but that is absolutely what that means, okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm reading this. My sister, U.S. citizen spouse, died in 2023. Sorry to hear that. This is Johnson again. Can she apply for naturalization after 5 years? I know there's more to this that you're leaving out, okay? So I will say that just based on the very generic reading of that question, yeah, anyone who's a legal permanent resident who has a green card, after 5 years, you can apply to be a naturalized citizen, okay? Again, this individual probably needs to reach out to me directly because there's more to the story. So I don't really know how to answer that. Okay, let me see here. Let me go back to my channels. We've got a friend joining us from Jamaica. This is Mac Dan. Good evening, sir. You're from Jamaica. My mom is a U.S. citizen. My priority date is August of 2017. Is, not was, okay? All my documents are qualified and completed. How long do you think I'm looking at before I get there? So Mac, I will tell you, go to my YouTube channel since you're already on it, where I posted a video of how you find the answer to that. I will say that August of 2017, if your mom is a U.S. citizen, let me just see. Basically, the visa bulletin is what you need to be looking at to see the answer to this question. Mac, let me see if I can get a quick answer for you. I still encourage you to go to my YouTube channel because I have like 500 videos that answer lots of these questions. So go on there and check it out. But let me see right here. So if we're talking a U.S. citizen parent sponsoring an adult child, okay? So we're talking the F1 category. F1 category right now, in the category you're in, they're processing requests that were submitted in November of 2015. So it looks like you're in 2017. It looks like you've got about 2 more years before you can expect that you're going to be able to move forward. Okay, so Mac Dan, looks like about 2 more years. Okay. 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 Continuation for Delmar. Okay. My dad had his military parole denied. Ooh, you didn't say that the first time. So we applied for the deferred action and have requested the dismissal of my dad's voluntary departure case. Good luck with that. Is there a limit to how many times we can apply for military parole in place? No, it's one of those one-hit wonder things, okay? They will review it as long as you continue to be eligible for it. So as long as you're eligible for military parole in place, meaning if you've already served and you're done with the military, that right is always going to be there. Okay, so no, you can apply again, Delmar. So I would say good luck with the dismissal of voluntary departure case. That's a tall order. Good luck with that. But yes, you can file many times for that military parole in place. Okay. Okay, here's the next question from my YouTube channel. My son got an I-551 stamped. I don't know what an I-551 is, but stamped can't get from COVID. Now he's married to a U.S. citizen. What can he do to get a green card? So, sir, I don't understand your question. So I will encourage you. I'm going to post the link again. I will encourage you to reach out directly to me and ask that question, okay? Because I'm just not getting the question from what you're writing here. So unfortunately, I won't be able to answer that, okay? Yep, Mac, my pleasure, okay? If you need anything more, reach out to me. Okay. Let me do this. This is Spice Yal. Is there an expedited process for military parole in place? No, but I will say that I've never had military parole in place take that long. Okay. It all comes down to where you're located because the military parole in place is an interesting process that is very dependent on the local field office. Okay. For us here in Grand Rapids, where I am today, in case I didn't mention that, the Detroit field office is the one who's making the determination on whether to grant military parole in place. And they've historically been really darn good about processing these, and they don't take that long. So it comes down to processing times in the field office that you're dealing with, which is the state you live. Okay. So it really depends. Okay. So let me see here. Okay, I think I answered this question without knowing that you asked this question. Where are you located? I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I help individuals and families from any state in the country and really any country on the planet. Because of the nature of immigration law, I can help anyone from anywhere. So you don't actually have to be close to me. Time zones, we work around those. They're not an issue. So if you have a question, you need my assistance, you can reach out to me. Doesn't matter where you are, okay? I've applied for naturalization, but I have a misdemeanor, okay? Not necessarily a deal breaker. Could it be possible to be at risk of being detained? So there's always a risk, okay? If you're illegal, if you're anything except a U.S. citizen, there's always a risk. So it depends on what your misdemeanor is, because what most people don't realize, and this is the complexity of immigration law, an aggravated felony can actually be a misdemeanor. Meaning, if you have a misdemeanor, it could actually qualify as an aggravated felony under immigration law. So it depends on what your misdemeanor is my point. So I would encourage you to book a time to talk to me more directly about this, okay? Let's see here. I'm going to scan real quickly. Lots of people asking questions, and I don't want to close the door yet, but we are getting past the time that we really have allotted to us. 1 second. Okay. Not sure that question, so I don't think I'm going to post it. So here's a question, Manjeet. I'm coming to the U.S. with a visitor visa. I'm already married with a U.S. citizen. So the I-94 also. So okay, my wife does not pay enough taxes, so I don't have any friend, any sponsor for me. So how can I? Okay, this is a partial question. I think I understand the question, so let me try to answer this really quickly. If your sponsor hasn't made enough money to sponsor you as an immigrant, and you don't have someone that can help you guys out, then you have no option, okay? They're very serious about it, especially now under the Trump administration. If you don't have the right support, meaning if the government thinks that you're going to be a public charge and be dependent on your fellow taxpayer, they're not going to approve your request. So if your sponsor can't sponsor you, or if you can't find co-sponsors, you really do not have any options at this point in time, okay? Okay, here's a good question. This is probably going to be the last question I'm going to be able to get to. Melina. If my fiance was deported in 2018, can I still help him get a green card? Yes, you need to contact me and I can help you with that. I've helped people with this problem many times. Deported in 2018, it is absolutely possible to get a green card. There's things that we got to do. A lot of it depends on what the deportation was for, but please, the link that I posted in there is the way that you can reach out to me. I can help you with this. So, yep, my pleasure, Melina. My pleasure. So reach out with that link. Also, for you that didn't realize it, at the bottom of the screen, wait, can I point to it? This information down here, phone number, web address. That's how you get in touch with me if you can't use that link, and I can help you with all sorts of things. So reach out to me. You're in California, Melina. That's fine. We just adjust for the time change. I've got lots of clients from California, okay? People like people from Michigan. People like me from Michigan, okay? So I'd be happy to help you with this, okay? So check me out. Use that link, schedule time to talk to me, and I would love to help you and your significant other move forward, fix your status, and be happily rejoined together in the United States, okay? So, Delmar, it's my pleasure, okay? Okay, you guys, I'm very grateful to you all for joining us and for all your questions. Really appreciate it. We are past the time, so I'm going to end the live session for tonight. Remember, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Detroit time, next Monday. Please join us. Have your questions ready because you can see how many questions we get toward the end. Ask your questions early, so join right away at 8 o'clock. I want to see you next week. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next Monday.